Music was a big part of your life growing up, wasn't it?
Yes.
And your parents, one-word answer. What did your parents say when you said, I'm going to be an opera singer?
Well, be careful. Well, music has been in my family on both sides. On my mother's side, my family had a number of brass players. We had a tuba player, we had a trombonist, we had a trumpetist. My great Aunt B was a contralto. My mother is a dramatic soprano. My aunt was a lyric leggero. Lyric was soprano. Many people made attempts at careers in many ways. On my father's side, my grandmother was a concert pianist, and my father was a lirico leggero. So everybody always had this love of singing. And when I was growing up as a kid, I didn't really. I had I had a love of many other things. I was a debater. I was in mock trial. I did other things that had me speaking in the public forum, but never really quite singing. And I think it was a little bit of a surprise when I got to college and I made the shift, because it should have been natural. People should have expected it, because it wasn't something I was pursuing when I was very young. But I will say this, for full disclosure, that I always only loved classical music as a kid. So I enjoyed listening to Dvorak, for instance, was my favorite composer when I was a kid. So it seemed like, now it's obvious, where I am and what I'm blessed that I have this extremely musical family and creative family around me that has supported me in this process.
You mentioned you have an aunt or several aunts who were singers and members of the family who were singers. One of your aunts actually has a career going as a singer, Judith Burbank. Another one of your aunts has written about your family history.
Right.
That is Lori Fabiano.
Right.
You and she were both featured in The Italian Americans, which is a documentary that is going to be shown on PBS starting in February. What was it like being part of that?
Well, it was exciting because this documentary is going to shed light on the plight of immigrants from Italy from late 1800s, 1900, 1910, coming to America and dealing with the Black Hand and all these situations where people lived in extreme poverty, making 2 cents a day, 5, 10 cents a day just to do whatever, and to give a life to their families. And what a life it was. And so the documentary does a good job at showing where the Italian-American existence has come from and what it's become and where people are now.
How did you get to be a part of this?
Well, Lori and I were both asked as a part of this documentary that is being filmed that features a number of luminaries. And I thought it was, again, a great honor to be included in it.
We have an excerpt from that show, and this is your reaction to your aunt's description of how Italian Americans are depicted in contemporary culture.
Sulla tomba che rinserra il tradito genitore.
I'm horrified by the stereotypes that people see about Italian Americans. Not all Italian Americans are like that. I think it gives me the responsibility to communicate that to other people, that there is something better than what you see. We have such an incredible culture.
Michael Fabiano is a third-generation Italian-American who at a young age was drawn to an art form that originated in the land of his ancestors.
I think it's important for Italian-Americans to know their history and their lineage. As I've worked abroad, and as I've worked specifically in Italy as an opera singer, I've been able to reflect much better on what it is to be an Italian-American. Knowing my roots, where I came from, is an important thing.
That is from a 4-part documentary called The Italian Americans, which starts airing in February on PBS. Really, I'm looking forward to that now. So you are literally all over the world this year. Next week, you are the star attraction at the Richard Tucker Gala. Actually, on Sunday,
Sunday.
it is. Yeah, so it's not even next week. It's this coming Sunday. Then you're doing Bohème in San Francisco.
Right.
Then Faust in Sydney and in Paris. And then you are opening the Glyndebourne season. Is this how you
As
envision?
Poliuto.
I'm getting to
I'm
that.
sorry,
I'm getting no. As
excuse me?
Poliuto, yes, definitely as Poliuto.
Shut my mouth.
No. Absolutely, as Poliuto. I was just going to ask first. Is this how you envisioned your life?
No, I didn't. No, I set the bar high when I study and when I prepare work, but I expect far less because I think that's a way to keep peace, and carry on in life without throwing the expectation level so high that it's almost not attainable. But I work to the highest standard. So I study to the highest standard possible and then carry on and hope that God is with me the whole way, which I know he is up to this point. So
Clearly. Now, as you mentioned, it's Poliuto. What I was going to say is that this is the first ever production in the UK of Donizetti's Poliuto, and you are starring in it. How did that come about?
Well, I was asked 4 years ago, actually, about this, and we were talking, and 4 years ago, the idea of singing Poliuto was really like climbing a mountain, I don't know, Poliuto, the only person that we really know that did it with acclaim was Corelli. I mean, there's that wonderful, recording of Svolgerò Divino Ragione, it's fine. And I have always loved the Donizetti operas. I'm a Donizetti file. I listen to them, I love them, and I accepted the challenge because I worship those kind of works, and I love the process of studying them and going very deeply into them, every single note and why they are, why there's so many different types of cadenzas and how we could resolve them, or I can make changes to them, or whatever we can do. And I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to it as another mark, another challenge on the chart in my career.
And now you know that Renata Scotto would have liked to have sung Lucia with you. So
Now I know.